What's up guys, this is Astranox. We're going to be talking about Cerise skill change notice. This was just posted a few hours ago, and well, Cerise getting released you know, in a day and a half, something like that, and she's going to be a limited ranger ice hero. We'll go over this notice. I'll go over her skill set, how it was before. I'll talk about like what is actually changing, team comps that you're not going to be able to run anymore. So yeah, a lot of stuff is actually changing because her skill set is not only one thing that's getting changed, right? So I'll go on this website after E7 Herder, right? And we'll go over her skill set, the way it was before, her stats and all that. I gave my thoughts already in an early review of Cerise in another video, and yeah, now things are definitely changing. This website also has a model viewer with different expressions. Really good website, clean, very effective. Okay, so the stove post, guys. I'll go over this stuff in a second. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys, if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you still haven't. So, what is actually changing? Well, is this a nerf or a buff, or is it falling in between? The thing is, limited heroes have not been nerfed in the past. Now, they're trying to do this before she gets released, right? Because, yeah, I mean, limited heroes, they don't get nerfed. Well, so far anyways, after they are released. So they're releasing her, they are nerfing her before the release. Okay, Luminous Explosion. What is changing here? That is her skill 2. The decreased combat rudeness by 30% is gone. It is gone. That skill had a lot of stuff going for itself. I mean, stunned for 1 turn. That's 100% chance, right? Unless it resists. Before increasing the combat rudeness of the caster by 50%. That's huge. It allows her to cycle through her kit faster. You know, a setup stun into specimen set to delete the target, or just straight up like control that target. You know, so they don't like I don't know, buff, heal, or deal damage, whatever. That is very powerful. It's staying there. It's just the decreased combat rudeness by 30% is gone. I'll talk about cooldowns as well, skill cooldowns in a few minutes. So Frost Storm, right? Let's look at the Awakened version. This is skill 3, attacks all enemies with a raging Frost Storm, decreasing buff duration by 1 turn before a 100% chance each to decrease speed and restrict for 2 turns. Grants the caster invincibility for 1 turn. What is changing here? They are swapping debuff position. I talked about this before. I told you guys in my thoughts video about Cerise that you were able to remove the restrict debuff first if you are using heroes that cleanse 1 debuff, because restrict was on the left side and then decreased speed is on the right side of it. So that means restrict is always going to be the one being removed first. So that was a problem. If you want to rely on that restrict, you kind of want it to stick, and for it to be removed, you kind of want them to have a hero that remove like all debuffs, and not just like 1 debuff and then the restrict is already gone. So that's kind of unfortunate, the way it was going to work. But they're also changing the way restrict works, and the way it was before was extremely powerful, and you could use a team to just completely like overlap the enemy team, control them and cripple them with debuffs, and just keep on gaining turns on them and just take them out one by one. So the way it's getting changed is of course a nerf to this debuff called restrict. But the positioning swap on the Frost Storm is good, because now heroes like you know, ML Tywin that can remove 1 debuff. Let's talk about Diin. She can remove 1 debuff. Angelica Montmorency with her skill 2, she can remove 1 debuff. Well, now they are going to remove decreased speed first before restrict. So this buys you time. It keeps the restrict on their team, and yeah, they're gonna have they cannot boost their combat readiness with whatever skill that does so anymore, unless they take it off, unless it was resisted. But that's it. For skill 3, it's a swap of debuff. I feel like it's a good change. Now for the restrict debuff itself, before, the target will receive no combat readiness increase effect other than that provided by their speed stat. Now the way it's going to change is, well, the target will receive no combat readiness increase and decrease effects other than those provided by their speed stat. So what that means is you cannot use a combat readiness manipulation team like heroes that reduce combat readiness of the enemy team, if they already have restrict, you know, they're already crippled with the fact that they cannot boost their combat shrewdness. So like, if you're gonna be using like a bazaar to reduce their combat shrewdness, it's not gonna work anymore unless restrict is not there, unless your bazaar goes first. But the base speed of Cerise is very high, so you it's easier to have her go first, which defeats the whole purpose. It's gonna be easier for the enemy team to just outspeed you if you're trying to have bazaar go first. So yeah, now you cannot use other heroes, like any hero that reduce combat shrewdness if restrict is applied. So you can take Lilius out, you can take Dizzy out, anything like that. I was talking about Celeste, you know, the 3-star ranger that is light element. She actually reduced combat shrewdness with a 50% chance on her skill 2, and she can keep on spamming that AoE if her HP is at 80% or higher. And I was thinking like she could be like a good combo with Cerise, right? And she actually gives speed memory imprint as well, boosting Cerise's like speed, so you know, it increases your chance of going first when the battle starts. So yeah, stuff like that will not be able to happen anymore if they do have the restrict debuff. So it feels like it was kind of needed, because maybe some players might feel like her kit is you know, underwhelming. Yes, it is for PvE, because bosses well, some bosses are immune to the restrict debuff, like Wyvern 11, she's ice, and she'd be like maybe a good hero for Wyvern because she's ice. But we'll have to check her multipliers, damage multipliers. I'll be showcasing her in multiple areas of the game for you guys, so don't worry about that if you're on the fence about pulling for her. But her kit is about PvP, right? Yeah, I'm not gonna read this part here at the bottom. But yeah, they're doing the change. They're telling us that they're doing this before she is actually summonable. Like, so it's not the whole Alencia fiasco once again. Like with you know, they let some people summon for her, and then they stopped her banner. They did a patch, and then they changed her skill set, so she cannot trigger. You know, she cannot with a counter. She cannot do her skill 1 and 2, her passive, if she had Mind's Eye. So that was a nerf that, yeah. So they're doing it before. Anyways, let's move on to that other website here. So this was the stove post. And here we can go over like her skills, like the way it was before. You know, nothing changes for skill 1. All the skill of nothing is changing her stats. It's just what I told you guys. So Luminous Explosion, we had that decreased combat shrewdness of 30%. That skill has a 3-turn cooldown after skill up. So you can see how powerful it would be, you know, a guarantee stun if it doesn't get resisted. And then, I mean, you are boosting your own combat shrewdness by 50%, and then, I mean, you're also decreasing combat shrewdness of the target. That's crazy. That's really powerful. The restrict, the way it worked before, it was being applied first on the left side, and then the speed down would be the debuff on the right side. So, like I said, dispelling 1, like even like using Green Armin, she with her exclusive equipment can actually dispel 1 debuff on her with her skill 3. So it would be easy to just take out restrict off of your team, or the enemy team would be able to take it off first if they can only dispel 1 debuff. And yeah, ML Tywin, I mean, his purpose is yeah, it's kind of getting defeated there. Now she still has the power of her skill 3 that takes off debuff immunity. You know, those that set, that 2-piece set, that immunity set, it's gone when she uses this thing, which is very powerful. Decrease buff duration by 1 turn, but some stuff, of course, that lasts longer than 1 turn will not lose a you know, a turn. So Fallen Cecilia, her barrier actually lasts for 2 turns. It will just lose 1 turn, but it will stay there. The debuff immunity from the set will be gone. So I was thinking of using Cerise with Challenger Domino, Cerise with 100% crit chance, or you know, close enough, because Challenger Domino actually gives some crit chance on her memory imprint. It's like 14.4%, something like that. So I was thinking of using Cerise as the opener, and then it boosts the combat shrewdness of Challenger Domino, which doesn't need that much speed. She's getting 10% combat shrewdness per crit, and then she's going to be able to use skill 3 to boost combat shrewdness of the whole team by 20%, allowing your other damage dealer or damage dealers to go and they're gonna have that crit chance buff, which is gonna be pretty sweet. But you're gonna have to build them with speed if you want them to follow right after, or you're gonna have to use actually I'll talk about all this stuff in a second. Let's just go over her stats real quick. And the thing is, yes, you're not gonna be able to use, you know, a team, like I said, to heavily manipulate the combat readiness of the enemy team and just keep on lapping, and they're not going to be able to have any turn. That would be extremely powerful, and the way she was before would allow that, because the restrict debuff, you know, allowed you to just keep on reducing their combat readiness. But now they're going to be like immune to combat readiness manipulation, which is, yeah, it definitely don't allow so many different group compositions, and also the restrict debuff is going to be protected by the speed down debuff, so that's good, or it could be bad depending on how you want it to actually happen. Like, I mean, bringing Cerise against like a tanky team that doesn't have any combat readiness boosting effects would kind of defeat the purpose. But you can still remove the debuff immunity with her skill 3 if you're trying to maybe land some, you know, debuff defense down. You want to like do some cleave. Challenger Domino would work quite well with Cerise that, you know, that has invincibility after using skill 3. And that's going to be really fun. So I'll move on into Epic 7 and just talk about different combos that I was talking about before, maybe new ones and stuff that, of course, will not be able to happen anymore. So let's go. Yeah, her stats, 122 base speed is very high, and it will definitely allow you to go first in a lot of situations, which is what you actually want to happen. Her attack is low. We'll have to see how her multipliers are. I don't think she's gonna be like that damage dealer. I mean, she does provide a lot of utilities with her kit already. Her health and defense, I mean, it's not so high. I mean, it's okay, right? It's okay. Defense is it's not bad at all. The HP is a bit on the lower side, but she's definitely going to be able to have a lot of survival. Even if you go with a crit chance necklace, if you're trying to land some crits for Challenger Domino to go next, something like that, you're still going to be able to have decent survival depending on your substats. And on your boots, of course, you're going to go with speed boots on a speed set. That's the way I would go with her. If you are planning to definitely go first, then you wouldn't have to worry so much about having an immunity set on her. So you can just go crazy and try to get, you know, as much you know, speed and survival as possible. But the thing is, yes, she's not gonna have that much survival. You're gonna need a effectiveness ring on her, so you might want to go with a speed hit set so you can boost as much of your effectiveness stat to apply, you know, the restrict, the speed down. It's going to be really important, and she is ice, so if you're fighting a team with you know, heavy on the earth element, then you always have that 50% chance to miss, which is going to be yeah, you're definitely not going to bring her, like, if you're trying to use her on offense, you're not going to bring her against a defense team that has a lot of, you know, earth. And if they don't have any sort of combat readiness manipulation, you're probably not going to want to bring her unless you're using, like, you're going to be using her debuff immunity removal, right? So you can actually land some debuff, defense down, whatever debuff you're trying to apply on the enemy team. So maybe you could use her in this way, but you can set her on arena offense. You can set her on, you know, you can use her on arena offense, Guild War offense. You can use her, you know, on defense as well. So anyways, let's move on to heroes that could be paired with her. The thing is, you know, Cerise, she has 122 base speed. If the enemy is using her on defense, you could always go first especially by using, you know, heroes that have speed memory imprints. So maybe you want to go in there and cleave their team. And I mean, you have a Vildred, maybe you're getting a bit of speed out of his memory imprint as well. I mean, that's a lot of speed, 12 speed right there, potentially. So you could just outspeed her and, I mean, kill them, basically. So yeah, you have a lot of different ways to go about it. You could use a team that is earth heavy. So I mean, you could rely on cleansers that of course remove more than one debuff. I mean, you could go in there with the fast Destina. The problem is her base speed is garbage, you know, at 89, but she's at least going to be able to remove all debuffs if she goes first and boost combat units by 15% per debuff. So that's pretty cool there, and she is earth, so that's another plus there. So yeah, like I said, earth heavy team is gonna be troublesome for her because she's well, ice and 50% chance of missing earth heroes. On top of, she actually needs to go through the effectiveness / effect resistance check, so there's also that to worry about. Yes, her survival stats, they're like okay, I guess, but if you're gonna be pairing her with Challenger Domino, like I said, that's the thing though, like you're gonna need effectiveness on the ring, you're gonna need speed boost, you're gonna need crit chance on the necklace, so it doesn't leave you much room for any sort of survival on the main stat on the right side. You still have your sub stats, but she's gonna be squishy. It's all about like her going first. She's got that invincibility on skill 3, so who cares really? I mean, we all know how many counter you know, effects are in the game with the Elbrus Ritual Sword, with the counter sets, the counter built in into the character's you know, skill set. ML Charles, there's always Charles if you're buffed. I mean, it doubles his chance. I mean, he has a yeah, let's just check Charles real quick. He is crazy, of course, but he's gonna deal damage with his skill 1, which is gonna be nothing because she has invincibility. And here you see, I mean, that's before skill ups, right? And decrease attack, whatever, and then chance to activate smash effect chance is doubled when the enemy is buffed. So of course you're gonna have a buff, and he's gonna most likely follow with his smash. But the thing is, he's gonna deal damage first, and then he's gonna dispel all buffs, so you don't have to worry about taking damage from him really. So anyways, other heroes, like let's talk about her here. So Challenger Domino, what is really cool is that, you know, she's got that crit chance here, gives the whole team, beside herself, okay, it's 12.6% crit chance, not so hard to actually do some memory imprinting on her, and 10% combat units per crit that you are dealing. So, you know, you could use Cerise to land a few crits if the enemy team doesn't have too many earth heroes, and it's gonna allow Challenger Domino to you know, go next, boosting combat units by 20%, increasing crit chance of the whole team by 50% with the buff. Very powerful. And then you could Soulburn skill 1 with Tagil's Ancient Book that you know, could be on herself. And if you kill someone, you could have this artifact on Cerise, which you know, will boost the combat units of the whole team. Sash Itanes. So that's pretty nice. 20% from Challenger Domino, plus up to 16% with Sash Itanes. 36%. Landing a kill with Challenger Domino is not the hardest of things to do because she does a lot of damage with her skill 1, especially when it is Soul Burn. So that could be a strategy for you guys. But of course, you have a few things to worry about. I mean, if you're gonna be using her on offense, then yeah, Earth. You know, dispelling. Let's just go over here. Like, if we're gonna be talking about things that could have worked before but don't work now, is like DN, right? She dispels 1 debuff with her skill 2, so she cannot take the restrict off. But I mean, if their team doesn't have any sort of combat unitness boosting effect, then the restrict you know, debuff goes out the window. The thing is, she does boost, you know, her combat unitness with this thing. Maybe the enemy team has this artifact here, and that's not gonna work anymore, you know. Increase combat unitness the caster by 30% when using a skill that does not attack enemies. So Magahara's Tome is like, it's a very powerful artifact when you use it on LENA, because, you know, she's this skill is triggering it, and it says that It can be activated once every 2 turns, and decrease the damage received by all attacks, target all enemies. Where is it? It says that, okay, yeah, here. Decrease the damage received from attacks that targets all enemies by, you know, it gets reduced by, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 15%, and activates Consecrated Ground, which triggers that tome, which is very powerful, allowing her to cut in. But now if you are removing their, you know, debuff immunity sets, and then you are applying the debuff, they cannot gain combat units anymore. So you're still going to be at the mercy of, I mean, your effectiveness versus Earth, but also like if they're stacking effect resistance, right? Well, you're not going to be able to land those debuffs, and things like that will still be happening. But I mean, if you're applying restrict on some heroes, some of the damage dealers on the enemy team, and they're trying to, you know, let's say you're landing on some of the damage dealers and the combat readiness booster doesn't get affected, well, the combat readiness boosting will not be happening on the heroes that do have the restrict. If she's on defense and you're trying to attack on offense, you can always go with the outspeeding with, you know, memory imprint, auxiliary lots going first, and then you just like cleave them, sort of. You could also go more earth heavy. I mean, you could use Righteous Teeth Rosette, right, and try your luck against her. Maybe you go first, but if you do get outsped, at least you have some earth heroes allowing you to, you know, not receive the restrict debuff because of the evasion, the miss chance, I mean. So yeah, and Rosette, I mean, he's got speed, memory imprint, and who else? Vildred is earth. There's so many different ways that you could go about it, guys. But of course, you're gonna need to cleanse, you know, all debuffs, more than one. So that restrict debuff is gonna be more problematic. Now it's just that there's no crazy teams that can be built to completely like lock down the enemy team, which is well, that's good, because she maybe she doesn't seem so good to some players, but she can definitely be very dangerous in higher tier, the way she was before. Now, yeah, I mean, it is a buff because the restrict is not the debuff being reduced, taken away first, but now it's going to be the speed down debuff, so it protects restrict debuff, which is good. It's definitely good, I would say. So that was a buff, but of course she did get nerfed on her skill too, and the fact that she cannot manipulate combat readiness on the enemy team anymore is unfortunate, but it would be too strong, I would say. It would be too strong. Now you could use Sage, Bell, and Season, and you can put them to sleep. You can put them to sleep because, I mean, if they're trying to use Fallen Cecilia to protect the debuff immunity, which is too powerful and it nullifies Sage, Bell, and Season, well, you could use Cerise to take off the debuff, you know, immunity from the immunity set, and then Bell and Sage, Bell, and Season is, you know, has all its power, and your team is wide open. So that's definitely a possibility, a duo that you can use. Desert Jewel Bazaar, of course, is definitely the ultimate hero here when it comes down to dealing with Cerise, completely nullifying her skill 3. I mean, it's just gonna dispel all debuffs, apply immunity for 3 turns, and boost combat readiness after by 30% with skill ups. Man, Desert Jewel Bazaar, his survival is low, but he is very powerful, especially if you build him with a high effect resistance. Even Bazaar with, you know, Abyssal Crown cannot like dispel, you know, reduce combat readiness and apply a stun on Desert Jewel Bazaar, which is extremely frustrating when it does happen. So you can resist that, and yeah, that's definitely a good way to go about it. So yeah, I guess that covers it. She's definitely, yeah, she was buffed in a way, but also she was nerfed. I mean, you can't, that 30% combat readiness reduction on skill 2 is completely gone. So that's definitely a nerf there. And the restrict debuff, the way it works, a lot of different things will not work anymore. Like I was thinking Celeste, right? She's got that pretty sweet speed memory imprint here, 8 speed for Cerise, and then with this thing, she's got a 50% chance to decrease combat units by 20%, and yeah, does not increase cooldown count, so you can keep on spamming this thing if her HP doesn't drop below 80%. The thing is, of course, you're not. If they have a lot of counter mechanics, Celeste will get destroyed. But at least you could do it once. The immunity set is going to be gone. The chest not so good, but you still have that speed memory imprint. The thing is not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore because you cannot reduce their combat readiness, any sort of combat readiness reduction if they do have this restrict debuff applied on them. So yeah, well, anyways, let us know what you guys think in the comment section. I feel like, yes, she would definitely be a very powerful in high tier PvP. The thing is, there's a lot of ways to counter her. Like I said, Earth, dispelling all debuffs, using teams that don't actually rely on combat readiness boosting. Maybe you can just use a turn 2 team, just tank it, you know, and just start to take them apart one by one. Different ways to go about it. She's not gonna be the overpowered Dizzy, the overpowered, especially Seaside Bellona. Looks like they're learning about you know, balancing limited heroes before releasing them, because yeah, they're not nerfing them after being released, so they gotta be careful there. So anyways, like I said, let us know in the comment section what you guys think about all this. Will you still be pulling for her? I will showcase her in multiple areas of the game, so don't worry about that. And that's really it for this one. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Press the bell icon to be notified whenever I release a new video, and check out my other videos. They should be showing up on the screen now. I got playlists of all sorts: Arena, Guild Wars, guides, tips, and how-tos, and Abyss Floor 62+, as well as you know, for my early to mid game players, best starter guides for fast progression. Join us, guys, on my Discord server. We have almost 1,000 members in my community. If you want to get helped or help each other, you can even talk about other games. There's a channel for that. Okay, so good luck with all you do. Good luck with your summoning. Peace out for now.